We are live from Glenview Ice Center for Game 2 of the SHL semifinal between New Trier Green and Glenbrook South. The series transitions to Glenview after a Game 1 win for New Trier in 5-2 dominating fashion, not just on the scoreboard, but outshot Glenbrook South 54-15. And if GBS wants to extend this series to a Game 3, they're going to have to do a lot better in shot prevention and getting more shots on goal. And for more on how they're approaching Game 2 here in the SHL, we'll send it down to ice level, where Andrew Rubin standing by with GBS head coach Jimmy Philbin. Andrew.
Thanks, Max. I'm here with Coach Jim. Coach, Game 1, most of the play was determined by New Trier. How do you guys look to change that here today?
Yeah, we want to get our pace going a little faster, especially in the first period. They like to get pucks deep, so we want to, get those quick releases, get it out of our zone, battle back in the neutral zone, and get some play in their offensive zone.
New Trier's top line, Walker, Chesson, and Balls combined for 4 goals in that first game. How do you slow them down here today?
We got to stay on them inside our zone. They're quick, they're shifty. We got to pick up guys, pick up sticks, not give those opportunities to them.
Thank you very much. Good luck, Coach.
Andrew, thank you very much. Talking to Coach Jimmy Philbin, and it's been a stellar season thus far for GBS, advancing to their first SHL semifinal in the history of the league. Of course, going down to South Bend and winning the Hoosier Cup Invitational. And currently in good position in the state playoffs as well. So GBS looking to extend their SHL season here tonight. During that interview, you heard a comment there from Coach Jimmy Philbin talking about the top line, and they sure did come out in Game 1. It was Daniel Balls and Butler Chesson with 2 goals each in Game 1, really pacing the offensive effort for the Trevians. Meanwhile, goals on the Glenbrook South side. Jason Band got another one. He's now got 6 points in the playoffs here in just 4 games. He has been on fire. He was a leading point getter for this GBS team in the regular season. Next nearest was Zach Freemuth with 8 less, so he really paced this GBS team, and he's carrying it right into the playoffs, Andrew. And when you talk about playoff hockey, you really talk about the stars coming out, Andrew. And when we talk about Jason Band, he's done just that in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to playoff hockey, your best players have to be the best players on the ice if you're willing to win. And it's a completely different atmosphere, as it's said all the time. The playoffs, just everybody's got that much more juice ready to go from the get-go. Jason Band has been that lead guy for GBS, and as you mentioned, Walker, Balls, and Chesson have been those lead guys for New Trier, and probably whoever's top guys play better tonight will come out on top.
No doubt about it, as we certainly saw a shorter bench from the GBS side, really relying on their top couple of lines. Of course, the depth of New Trier, Andrew, they're really able to roll more 3 lines, even their 4th line pretty regularly. Pretty nice luxury for New Trier Green, and if they're going to win again tonight, they're going to have to continue to dominate 4 lines and hope GBS continues that short bench and really get after them in the 3rd period.
You're spot on with that, Max. New Trier just perennially has that depth where they can just wear teams out. A lot of teams can hang in for those first 2 periods, but when that 3rd period comes around and other teams' top guys are starting to get a little bit gassed, that's where New Trier can really put the pedal to the metal.
So we are zeroing in on puck drop here, 17 minutes on the clock. A nice crowd here at Glenview Ice Center, this 6:30 p.m. puck drop. I want to thank you for joining us alongside Andrew Rubin. I'm Max Anderson. You should be scheduledly aware if you are GBS inclined, should they get a victory here tonight. Game 3 will be Thursday evening at Centennial Ice Arena, 8:05 p.m. So that's what GBS has at stake here tonight to force a Game 3. And while, of course, the state playoffs are going on, Andrew, these SHL playoffs still mean a lot. They understand what it means to win this league with arguably the top 7 or 8 teams in the state in this league, having to win 2 games against each team, arguably harder than the state championship.
You're spot on. We got playing that 3-game series with all of these top teams, and all year round, it's been no days off in this league. There's been no clear-cut top team. Every night, you got to bring in playing a 3-game series for 3 rounds. It's going to have to take a really good team to come out on top.
Andrew mentioned no clear top team all this season. Loyola started as number 1. GBN in the first 2 months of the season was looking really strong, really sharp. A couple of key injuries has derailed their season just a little bit. They were eliminated in the quarterfinals. Then it looked like Loyola. Loyola looked like the dominant, best team in the state throughout the 2021 part of the schedule. Turned the page, and New Trier Green has been red hot to the point where they had to win 7 straight SHL games to win the regular season SHL.
As you said, 2022, we covered that Loyola New Trier game, and from that point on, it was almost like New Trier just flipped a switch and was ready to steamroll any opponent in their way.
So the top line for New Trier comes out to start in Walker, Balls, and Chesson. Opening draw taken away by New Trier, and Jack Hawkins getting involved. That top pair of Rabinovitz and Hawkins on the back end. You'll see some depth, of course, from Will Krager. As this shot chipped up into the netting just 15 seconds into the game, will be an offensive zone draw for GBS.
As you mentioned, Will Krager and Butler Chesson, both all SHL selections from New Trier, and Lucas Winger and Owen Almberg, the SHL selections for GBS. Lucas Winger, SHL Player of the Year.
Yeah, Luke Winger has really been strong, especially over the past month. Since that turn of the calendar, he has been unquestionably the best goaltender in the state. Here's an early save he has to make off the shot from the point. This shot from Hawkins deflects into the corner. And quickly, GBS getting the puck out. One of the keys to the game, Andrew, as we talked before the game, was GBS slowing this New Trier team down through the neutral zone. They have to be able to slow that transition down, force them to dump pucks and go win them behind GBS defenders.
Yep, and as we heard Coach Philbin, he really wants easy outs as well. He wants to slow them down and easy outs. That's what's going to lead to GBS's success here today.
Here's Faulkner. He's all alone as New Trier's making a change. He'll just put the puck in the corner and let his team complete the change. Eventually forced out by Mulvey. Mulvey, just his second game back from injury. He'd been out for a while. His first game back was in game 1 of this series. So he's looking to make his way back into the lineup. Did count for 10 points in the 21 games, so a good piece of depth scoring. If GBS wants to win 2 games in a row in the SHL playoffs, certainly Mulvey can help that over the next couple of games. Far corner played up into the neutral zone. Faulkner will drop it deep. Landon Douthit to retrieve in the corner. He's got Cusick back at the point. Cusick immediately rifles it across. Bounces to Tyler Smith. He goes around, tries to center it, but a deflection from GBS and really an ill-advised pass across from Matt Halligan, or Callahan, I should say. He's able to get away with it, but when you talk about clean outs, as this shot fought off by Winger, that wasn't a good example there by Callahan. He went through the middle of the ice trying to clear it, Andrew, and very nearly led to a shorthanded opportunity, or I should say odd man advantage for New Trier.
Absolutely, as you said, New Trier is playing with a lot of speed through the middle of the ice. Not exactly a highly, you would say a highly requested play there from the coaches, as they want to keep this game kind of mucked up, just kind of want to hang in there, slow them down as much as possible.
That was probably the number one piece of feedback, as they had to have clean outs, so not a good start inside of 2 minutes into the game for GBS. They're able to get away with it, though. Here's Enright along the near side boards. He puts it into the corner. 4 or 5 bodies come together there, trying to pry it loose as Kitchell Snow eventually swings around the boards, but not out. Kept in at the point by one of 2 brothers, Lucas Cheris. Now Miller drops it below the goal line, comes free, but stepping in front and nearly ending that opportunity, but turning on off the turnover. It was Tyler Smith firing on net, but just high. New Trier about a minute now as New Trier's looking to change while in the offensive zone. They're able to get a new defenseman on. They've been able to hold it here for the better part of a minute. Finally able to clear out of the zone, and GBS looking to make changes. That's going to be, could have been too many men on the ice, Andrew, if he would have just kind of put it right there in front of the GBS bench. I think we probably would have had too many men from GBS.
Yes, not a really good start here so far from GBS on getting out of their zone. New Trier is doing a great job on their forecheck. But that shot also really surprised Luke Winger on that little flip. It seems like he was coming from the other side of the net, oddly enough.
Now face-off won by New Trier. Here's a shot deflected behind the net of Winger. Winger's also the type of goalie, Andrew, we've seen him a ton this season. Here's another deflection. Loose in the slot, but swiped away by a GBS defenseman. Now Now Hawkins gloves it, keeps it in the zone. And we're going to get a whistle.
I believe it was a hand pass.
It's a good call, Andrew. So we'll come out into the neutral zone with 13:23 left in the first period.
Those were some two really good redirection saves already from Wingard. Not going to call them the Schmidt goaltending save of the game, especially with a goalie like him. You can never make that call too early.
Andrew, good call. The Schmidt goaltending starting goaltenders, of course, Luke Winger, who's been the starting goaltender all throughout these playoffs. And for the better part of the month of January, here's a chance from Balls. His shot's deflecting up in the netting. Opposite him, we haven't called his name yet because he hasn't really seen any action. That's Drew Dirtoff down in the New Trier zone, or New Trier goal, I should say. It's his second start of the SHL playoffs, so him and Dean Lawrence continue to split starts down the middle. New Trier yet to settle on a single goaltender. We'll see how that progresses as the SHL and state playoffs move along.
As Lawrence was also an all-SHL member, but they really have confidence in both goalies. We talked to the coaches before. They have no feeling they lose anything.
This puck comes all the way back down. I've got a follow-up to that, Andrew, once we get a stoppage in play regarding the multiple goaltenders. Southwood finally able to get some possession for GBS. Comes back to Freemuth at the point. A sophomore, the second leading point getter for this GBS team. It's a very bright future for this Titans program. A lot of youth on this GBS team. This isn't necessarily a very senior-heavy team. Of course, some key stars are, but not all. And they'll have some nice pieces coming back next year as well, including All-State and SHL Player of the Year, Luke Winger.
I believe Freemuth is also leading the SHL in points in the playoffs so far.
Cusick holds the stick on the way down to the ice. We get a whistle as I believe the goal came off its posts. Could have been a hold of a stick from Cusick, but I think we'll play on here with 12:12 left in the first period. But Andrew, started to say yourself 2 years ago, entering the state playoffs, you had one all-state goaltender, and then you had the backup goalie end up being the goalie throughout the playoffs. Similar to what we're seeing here, where two goalies still into the playoffs sharing time. Is that something teams are comfortable with? Is that something, does it depend team to team?
I'd probably tell you from the goalie's perspective, they would probably prefer to be the starter. But as a player, if you have confidence in both of your goalies, you really have no problem switching between the two because you know both of them are going to give you a good chance to win.
Probably have a little bit more rest too, right? I mean, talk about the other night, Kieran O'Brien coming in place of Braden Haney after his 43 save double overtime game. They had the luxury of going to Kieran O'Brien the very next game.
Absolutely, it is a luxury not have to worry about rest or say a goaltender, God forbid, gets injured. Also is a really big benefit.
Here's a shot from the point in Buddington. Now another centering pass. Faulkner couldn't get to it. Is able to force it out of the slot was Steenstrup. A shot deflected. That was a hard block there from Carter Erickson. He's a little bit slow getting back to the bench. Goes all the way back into the New Trier zone.
That block stung him, but you'd expect nothing less in a playoff game, and he's probably going to be back on the ice very shortly.
Here's Douthit. He shuttles the puck into the GBS zone. Pinned in the corner is Kitchell Snow. Sokol trying to kick it free. He's got Allenberg around the other side. He can't get it to him. Finally won by Smith. Back to Cheris. The shot deflected. Goes behind the goal line. Now Steenstrup far boards is able to clear it out. Already a 6-2 shot advantage. Here's a shot on Dirtoff. He has to make a first moderately challenging save for New Trier with 10:35 to go. This puck's going to go the length of the ice for an icing. I want to thank our great sponsors here on the SHL Network: CCTY Bearing, Christopher Burke Engineering, Stormy's Tavern and Grill, Glassa, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, York Hockey, Loyola Hockey, Wintrust Bank, Lake Forest Bank and Trust, Wintrust Community Bank, Kramer Construction, Brian C. Mueller of Edward Jones Financial Advisory, and Schmidt Goaltending. Of course, visit schmidtgoaltending.com and get 25% off your first private lesson. Just tell them the SHL Network sent you. 10:27 left here in the first period, 0-0 in this Game 2 of the SHL semifinal between New Trier and GBS. Again, getting the puck below the goal line is New Trier. In the corner, Dolby, who celebrates a birthday today on GBS side. I'm sure the present he would like most, Andrew, is for a win against New Trier.
Nothing would be better than a birthday playoff win.
That's the way to go. My birthday's in October, and it's always fun to see a Cubs playoff win on my birthday. I've seen a couple of those, so Big sporting events on your birthday, it's special. Here's a shot from the far circle, and it's deflected into the corner. Cusick has to collect. Knocked down by Southwood, but can't get a second opportunity as Krager will settle the puck and look up ice. We'll find Chesson, who just chips it in deep. Balls and Sauer try on the forecheck. Stretch pass couldn't get to Moldy. Dolby tries to get the puck out off the boards. It's played by a high stick, and eventually GBS plays it. So we'll play on. Gets through to Erickson through the neutral zone. Now Papelis. Here's a shot from Erickson. Goes to the far corner side of the net looking for a deflection. Was Erickson again. Papelis trying to track it down, but it's cleared by New Trier. Comes back to Jackson Hill. He misses his man through the neutral zone. And GBS looking for changes here. They'll get 5 fresh bodies on the ice. Henry Fleetwood, the high school hockey player opposed to the PGA Tour golfer.
Max, right now we're really seeing both teams struggle to play a very clean game. They're not really good getting out of the zone. Both teams aren't as well working well in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone. Not seeing a lot of crisp passing so far.
Yeah, you're seeing certainly both teams putting up a wall at the blue line. They are not going to let clean entries into the zone. They are going to force these teams each way. They're going to force them to gain possession in the offensive zone behind the goaltender. It's arguably the hardest way to set up your possession, right? You'd love to be able to carry the puck into the zone, tape-to-tape pass, and you have to go dig it out of the corner. Makes it a little bit more difficult.
Unfortunately, we don't have the shots on goal up on the scoreboard here today, but I think New Trier got to a really hot start, but they've gone a few minutes here without a shot on goal or a chance. Better the play has been GBS since that hot start for New Trier.
Yeah, just pulling it up here. We do have live game sheet here at Glenview Ice Center. 6-4 shot advantage. All 6 of those New Trier shots came in the first 5 minutes. I don't think they've had a shot on goal, Andrew, to your point, in probably about 4 or 5 minutes. This puck deflected on by Henry Miller. Quickly gathered by Alberg and put out back into the neutral zone. Callahan's trying to shuttle it along, but Miller again pestering him the entire way. Offside's going to be that call, so we'll come back out in the neutral zone with 7:38 left in the first.
I think GBS is very content not pressuring these New Trier defensemen as much as you pointed out earlier, Max. Really a wall at the blue line formed by these Titans.
This puck, Sokol has to retreat deep in his own zone. He'll go D-to-D behind the goaltender to Almberg. Chip pass through the middle of the ice, misses Callahan. This pass back the other way. Almberg to settle for the dark sweaters. Looks like navy blue jerseys here tonight. Thought there might be a chance we would see the black GBS jerseys tonight, but they go with the classic home blue with yellow stripes. Classic Michigan Wolverines helmet.
New Trier sporting their 3rd jerseys as well.
Yeah, that kind of off-white color. Here's a shot deflected. It's just wide off the deflection from Chesson. Here's Balls. He'll circle off the half boards. High slot goes around another man. That's Jason Ban. Tosses a pass behind the goal. Coming in support is Balls. Benowitz waits. Instead, a shot on goal, and it's steered aside by Luke Winger. Not able to keep it in at the point. Callahan checks Hawkins to force it out. Ball's coming right back. And gets chipped into the GBS bench. Simple message before the game from Jimmy Philbin with you, Andrew. Talked about making life a little bit more difficult, getting some more shots in on dirt off. At the end of the day, shot suppression important. So far, more than halfway through the first period, 8 shots on goal. Much better track than they were in game 1.
Yes, and we've seen GBS has had some decent sustained zone time. When they do get in the zone, they are getting pucks on net.
Here's Sauer, but Bolin does a nice job of blocking that shot into the corner. Comes back to Krager. His shot all the way cleanly into Winger, but an easy save. The big 3-9 in net for GBS.
I believe the SHL Network did a game back in 2021, earlier this season, of New Trier against GBS. It was a 2-1 final score. New Trier really struggled to get traffic in front of Winger in that game. I feel like there's definitely an emphasis on that today.
Yeah, it was a shootout win for New Trier's. GBS, I believe, if I remember correctly, that game at Winnetka, GBS was up 1-0 till pretty late in the third period. Here's a chance for Fleetwood. Instead, Erickson able to take it away. Shot from Papelis, who's got, from my vantage point, Andrew, probably the most elite wrist shot in the SHL. He can really let it go on very quick notice. Can 23 for GBS.
Yeah, there's plenty of kids with great shots. You got Papelis, you have Gustafson and Grady and Schreiber on Loyola as well. Stevenson has a bunch of kids that can put the puck in the net. But as we mentioned, the league is just so deep this year, you'd expect nothing less.
Yeah, a lot of talent here in the league. Jackson Hill's shot just wide of the right pad of Dirtoff. Nice cross-ice pass, misses everybody, and Ban will make sure that doesn't get into his zone. Hawkins finds Douthit, but Jackson Hill immediately on him. And again, you can see Hill and Adrian Sokol in this case standing at that blue line. You saw the three forwards for GBS as that entry happened between center ice and the blue line. They're just not going to let them carry the puck into the offensive zone. They're going to beat them. They're going to force them to get the puck in deep. See again, Faulkner trying to stick handle, immediately cleared by GBS.
I think we're going to get another hand pass, but a lot of defensemen, they would call this their gaps. We were seeing great gap control from both teams. When they're trying to make these passes in the neutral zone, those defensemen are right there on these forwards. They almost have no choice but to turn over the puck.
Face-off won by New Trier here. It'll be Cusick carrying the puck. He'll fire it in deep. Leave that ricocheted up into the netting, so we'll stay down in the GBS zone with 4:45 left in the first.
We can pay more attention to face-offs as we go. I think New Trier has the slight advantage so far. That might be their best play, getting across the red line, putting a shot on goal on Winger, and getting an offensive zone face-off.
So we get a shake-up in the face-off dot. Mulvey will enter for GBS. Again, face-off won by New Trier. This shot deflected right over the crossbar. Gets back to the point in Krager. D-to-D Cusick. He'll shoot, gets a deflection. Never got all the way through. Side of the net, Mulvey. Now Allenberg able to clear for GBS. Gets the puck onto Papelis. Papelis, a little too bouncy of a puck to settle it down and get anything done offensively. But stopped by Dolby. He makes a nice move around Krager. Can't get much farther than that before the back check of Chesson takes over. Now Walker will skate wide, tries to go around a man. Again, Dolby able to stop the puck right at the blue line and just chip it into the corner. And that icing gets waved just at the last moment.
One thing to take note of at the blue line by both benches, there's already a lot of snow buildup. You can see it visibly here. It's going to be very tough to make any sort of puck plays in front of each bench.
Again, the more this game can be mucked up, as you put it, Andrew, at the start of the game, the dirty in the corners, not a lot of transition, will favor GBS. They will happily take the snow at the blue lines to slow down this New Trier team. Freemuth just shuttles that puck deep into the New Trier zone, taken away by Cheris. Touch pass from Miller. He gets it right back. He's checked by Southwood. Now a little bit of confusion between Enright and Cheris, but able to get away with it. Taking the puck now, Jackson Hill. He'll drop it in deep. Jason Ban along the far boards. And able to force an offensive zone draw. Nice play there from GBS. Subtle thing there, Andrew, but the way Jason Ban kind of stalked the defenseman behind the net there. It forced him to have to go high with the puck, ended up going into the netting, and they get an offensive zone draw out of it.
Yeah, I think also catching that defenseman by surprise and kind of playing a little bit of a physical edge, Jason Band, that was kind of more of just an emergency play by that defenseman.
Now Jason Band, the first real big contact of the game as he hits Rabinowitz, pinching Southwood, trying to keep the puck in. Freemuth at the point is able to knock it down and send it back behind, give Southwood a chance to pressure Hawkins. Southwood locks him up. His stick's being held, but he's able to get back up ice. Comes loose. Now Freemuth on his offhand. Comes to Jackson Hill. He whiffs on a shot. Smith trying in transition. Eventually it's Hawkins, and Boland's able to recover. Quickly get the puck back out to neutral zone. 2:25 left here in the first period. That's going to be an icing. You're watching us tonight on the SHL Network. I want to thank our great sponsors, CCTY Bearing, Christopher Burke Engineering, Stormy's Tavern and Grill, Blassa, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, York Hockey, Loyola Hockey, Wintrust Bank, Lake Forest Bank and Trust, Wintrust Community Bank, Kramer Construction, Brian C. Mueller of Edward Jones Financial Advisory, and Schmidt Goaltending. I think our great sponsors here is, if it weren't for you all, we would not be able to pick up all these playoff games. But because of your great support, all we have to do is send a text to the president of the league, say, hey, is in the budget for us to pick up another SHL playoff game? He says yes every time, and here we are. So we thank our sponsors and, of course, the league, who's been so great on all these broadcasts. Here's Daniel Balls. Tries to play on, comes back to Krager. His shot wide of the net. Trying to clear up the boards, kept in by Krager. Balls is able to collect. He'll drop it and leave it behind the net. Here's Cusick. He'll fire a shot, gets deflected. Good pad save there from Winger. 1:40 left here in the first period. Down to the ice goes a Trevian in the corner from the check of Dolby. That was Chesson, and cleared by GBS. Chesson's going to play that puck along, head for a change. Dolby takes a look up ice. Oh, and he turns it over through the middle of the ice. Here's Cheris. He turns, shoots. Big save. Winger still loose side of the net. He's got to deflect it into the corner. Now Sauer. Behind the net. The goal was way off its post, and finally Winger shoves it off the goal, and he's in the referee's face. He is not happy as that goal was off its post for several moments before the referee actually blew the whistle. You could see it there. It's already moving. And finally, Winger just puts his shoulder into the post.
To go back to that play, though, again, GBS trying to go through the middle. Very ill-advised against New Trier, but that's exactly what Winger brings to the table for GBS. He can bail them out of almost any situation, any sort of play. He is still that last line of defense that's very tough to get through.
He's a mistake eraser. That's what he is. He is able to fix mistakes that this team makes at times that pretty much every other goalie in the state isn't able to.
And you can hear it just by talking to other coaches. They have such high praise, whether it's New Trier, all the other schools in the SHL, Stevenson, GBN, every coach has such high praise for Luke Winger.
So he's certainly, if you follow Glenbrook South hockey, not only is he a heck of a talent in net, he's a personality. You saw it there. You won't often see goalies get in the face of referees like that. He's not afraid to share his emotion on a game-in, game-out basis. Inside of a minute left here in the first, 45 seconds. Scoreless game from Glenview Ice Arena. This puck chips up into the bench. And we'll come back to the neutral zone for a draw. Shot totals up to 14-6. Certainly feel like New Trier is a little bit better of the play here, Andrew, but not by a lot. This is a game's not being dominated one way or another. Certainly Winger with some key stops to keep it 0-0, but GBS obviously right there.
Yeah, I would say New Trier's best chances have come off of GBS mistakes. It's not really anything that New Trier is doing to create their offense right now.
Face-off won by Glenbrook South as this gets deflected up into the bench. with 36 seconds to go. Talk about the postseason Jason Band's having. 4 goals, 2 assists in his just 4 games coming into this one. Certainly a difference maker. Zach Freemuth with a big playoff as well. 2 goals, 6 assists. He's been very active. The sophomore for GBS. Rabinowitz can't keep this in at the point. And Freemuth enters the zone, tries to go around Rabinowitz. He's checked, puck loose in the slot. No one from GBS could find it. Now looking for a stretch pass. Hawkins couldn't quite get it to him in time. Gives Jackson Hill enough time to recover and force it in. You saw exactly the play they were looking there for. Andrew weren't able to complete it. Now 2 seconds left in the period, and that will do it for period number 1.
On that play right there, you saw the GBS defensemen were actually holding their ground at the blue line for the first time all game, and New Trier looked to exploit that right away.
As soon as they saw it, they took a step up and tried to get an odd man or breakaway opportunity. So we'll see how that continues to progress into the second period. We'll take a quick timeout, catch our breath, come back with second period action in just a couple of moments right here on your home for SHL Playoff Hockey, YouTube Live. Welcome back to second period action here from Glenview Ice Center. Game 2 of the SHL semifinal between Glenbrook South and New Trier Green. New Trier, the number 1 seed in the SHL, had a furious comeback in the standings in January to take that top spot away from Loyola, who really held it just about the entire season until the very last day of the season. New Trier completed that 7th win in a row they needed to win the SHL. Meanwhile, GBS comes in the 6th seed. They upset Stevenson in the first round in 3 games. They lost the first game of that series, came back and won the second 2, including a thrilling overtime win in Game 3 to advance to this series. And in Game 1, it was New Trier with a 5-2 win. Dominating fashion, 54-15 were the shot totals in favor of New Trier in that one. So far here tonight, 15-6 or 14-6 in the first period. But 0-0 our score, Andrew.
As we were talking about over break, we have to feel that a game like this where it's just 0-0 mucked up going along, that GBS, this just favors them. Their confidence keeps building. And New Trier, who's kind of starting to turn to dominate this pace of play here, if GBS can just get that one bounce, that one little nick, that all they need, it can put a real fear in the whole New Trier faithful.
Getting a good look there at sophomore netminder Drew Dirtoff, getting his second start of the postseason. Between him and Dean Lawrence, they've been splitting the job for New Trier. Meanwhile, you got a quick look at the other net and Luke Winger, who's been in every playoff game for this GBS team and arguably the best goaltender in the state. You'd expect to see him not just tonight, but come state playoffs, which these two teams play on Friday. But first, GBS hopes to force a Game 3 on Thursday.
Off of that defensive zone faceoff for New Trier, that's the 3rd time we've seen both these wingers of this top line for New Trier fly, and we see GBS immediately have 3 to 4 guys back right away, almost knowing it's coming.
You get the feeling that New Trier's just going to keep poking and prodding, right? They're going to keep challenging this GBS team to do it right every single time. We saw right at the end of the first period, Andrew, where they didn't and nearly led to a breakaway opportunity. It seems like New Trier's content to play the numbers, right? Eventually, they're going to make a mistake. And if you're New Trier, you're just counting that you can, for the most part, not give up anything, and they'll just continue to try to find those openings.
Yes, and you could say that's GBS's game plan, but that's a lot of teams' game plan against a team like New Trier where they have such a quick strike ability on offense that you have to be on top of everything at all points in time. Just a little mistake can lead to a goal. GBS has a huge help, though, having Winger, as you said, just a mistake eraser.
And one of the interesting storylines, too, we had develop at the end of the regular season. This face-off won by New Trier. Here's Cusick through the middle of the ice. Gets a deflection from Smith. Now into the corner, tries a backhanded pass. Instead comes back to Cusick in the high slot. A shot deflected up into the netting. And we'll get an offensive zone face-off draw coming for the Trevians. But Andrew, one of the things we saw develop over the course of the season, really the story to start the year was, hey, is New Trier down, right? They weren't scoring as many goals. They're way down in the scoring column. By the time we got to the end of the season, they were only trailed Loyola by 10 goals in terms of total goals scored over a 27-game season. So a lot of the concern that was around the New Trier program, I think, in November and December, obviously lost a lot off of last year's team. A lot of new pieces. They've really come together here since 2022 started.
Yeah, it's very cliche, but it's not about how you start. It's more about how you finish. And as we've said, they have just been on a rampage.
Here's a deflection just wide of the net. But you're right, they've been on a rampage, Andrew. And you talked to Bob Melton. Here's a shot. Goes wide of the net. Enright pinches in to get it to Tyler Smith. Now coming out in front underneath the pad. Winger almost backed into his own net on that one. But to finish this thought, Andrew, you talked to Bob Melton. This has been one of his best coaching jobs at New Trier. You talk about the depth and the numbers that New Trier get every year. This has been a really good coaching job by him this year to get this group from where they were, where people were really down on New Trier in the first half of the season, thought maybe this just isn't their season. It still won the SHL.
Still won the SHL, still got the #1 seed in the state, and if you ask most teams, they probably are the team to beat for the rest of the season here.
Meanwhile, GBS had a really solid season. Of course, Jimmy Philbin winning the SHL Coach of the Year. This shot with no traffic in front is about as easy a save as Winger will make all night.
Something I think that needs to be mentioned, I do believe GBS is New Trier's last loss in the SHL. It happened right before that win streak. And I think GBS they have beaten New Trier twice, which I think them and maybe Stevenson, I'm not sure, are the only teams to beat them multiple times.
Stevenson did as well, that is correct. GBN beat this New Trier team, so we talked about it before the season even started. I remember asking a couple different coaches, how many wins is it going to take to win the SHL? They said, I don't know how many wins, but I can guarantee you this. And just from multiple coaches, there will be at least 5 losses for the SHL champion, and they were spot on. A deep league, as deep as we've ever seen this league. Here's a centering pass, trying to get it to Charis. Dolby steps in front of that. He'll lead a transition rush here for the Titans, and offsides is Jason Band.
I would argue that would be intentional offsides, but interesting play we just saw from New Trier. We saw their defenseman actually rush the puck up, and although he did turn it over, the New Trier forwards were then there in support to look to attack after. Interesting to see if that's New Trier's new game plan. I think that can be a really good counter tactic to this wall that GBS is playing.
It's a good call. You're seeing starting to deploy some different things, and really there hasn't been much of a threat offensively from GBS. Real high-quality chances, none that stick out to me at least. I think New Trier feels a little bit emboldened offensively to continue to try some different things, and GBS is just looking for that one moment because they're the type of side that feels like they can win a 1-0 game here if they can just find one. Luke Winger has that ability. He's got shutouts to his name on the season. Knocked down. Here's Hawkins, winds up, deflected by Sokol into the corner. And Douthit plays it behind to Faulkner. And Sokol able to check him off the puck. He'll go high off the glass and whacked out of the zone by Callahan. 13:10 left here in the second period. You see Winger trying the stretch pass. Very nearly found Mulvey. That's another aspect of Luke Winger's game. Stretch pass now, Faulkner. He's got a breakaway. Faulkner in all alone. Backhanded shot. He misses the cage. He had he had Winger down and out. He just couldn't elevate the puck.
As you mentioned, he had Winger. I think Danny Balls got interfered with. That probably should have been a 2-on-0, but the weak side defenseman for GBS grabbed Danny Balls and pulled him down.
Good catch. Here's a couple of whacks right in front of Winger. Never gets through. Now top of the circle is Walker. He tries to fire a shot, not able to. And a check on Mulvey. A little bit high, a little bit hard, but no penalty. Here's a turnover. Chance out in front. Puck still loose. Try to whack it home as GBS. They get a shot and they score! I believe it was Papolis from right out in front of Dirtoff. And after all that, it's 1-0 Titans.
Exactly what GBS was waiting for. They got a turnover by a New Trier defenseman, got a scrum in front of the net, and they just so happened to bang it home.
The traffic in front, we talked about it. That's the type of moment this GBS team's looking for. Finally, it was Papolis that settled the puck, and great camera work there by our Patrick Loftus. You can see him settle the puck, fire a little wrist shot, looked like underneath the blocker of Dirtoff. And GBS has that all-important first goal in this game. This pass missing the stick for Ban, and it goes down the length of the ice for icing. I want to thank our great sponsors here on the SHL Network: CCTY Bearing, Christopher Burke Engineering, Stormy's Tavern and Grill, Glassa, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, York Hockey, Loyola Hockey, Wintrust Bank, Lake Forest Bank and Trust, Wintrust Community Bank, Kramer Construction, Brian C. Mueller of Edward Jones Financial Advisory, and Schmidt Goaltending. Centering pass from Ban is knocked down in front, never got all the way through. Stick misses the blade of Hawkins and goes all the way down, and Winger's going to fall on it.
On that last offensive zone faceoff, Kitchell Snow, I believe he did it the same time on this right hand. He went forward. He tried it again here last time. New Trier argued there should have been a penalty. Just something to watch out for. That's a very sneaky play to try and steal a goal off an offensive zone
Sorry to make
face-off.
the point just before that goal, Andrew. We're 11:57 left in the second period. We've had to see a penalty. Probably about the longest I can ever remember going in an SHL game without a penalty. Here's a turnover as it comes to Alex Cheris. Taken away by Papolis.
As you alluded to, there has been a penalty, but this has not been the most physical of games as we've seen here.
I was going to add that as well, as despite no penalties, it hasn't been like we've seen a lot of checks. We haven't seen much really board work, which, considering the style of game we expected, the clogging up of the neutral zone, less finesse, less tape-to-tape passing, I think I expected a few more penalties in this game.
Yeah, I think it's just also both these teams want to get themselves into open ice so much that they're not really willing to get to that mucked up game as much more physicality based.
Then you see GBS right at their blue line as they enter. Here's a pass just missing the glove of Steenstrup, or GBS might have had a 2-on-1 going the other way. Elmberg able to settle this puck. Cheris and Steenstrup get tied up. Puck pops up, eventually Steenstrup going to put it into the offensive zone. Don't get me wrong, Andrew, vastly prefer this pace of game where we've had no penalties. We've had relatively few whistles as well. It's been a quick moving game, and certainly the type of playoff pace you like to see, with a lot of constant action. A bad bounce, fortunate for GBS, they're able to escort it out, but we've seen a couple of times, especially with these plastic hang-ins, Andrew. Here's a play from Douthit. His shot gets deflected, but with these plastic, I don't know if we can get a shot of it. You can kind of see at the bottom of your screen right now, these plastic inserts. If you go high off the glass and the puck hits that, it's going to take a weird bounce towards the middle of the ice.
Yeah, and we also see stanchions all the way around the boards as well. Only on our side do they have those little plastic inches. There can be all sorts of crazy bounces here at Glenview Ice Arena.
This just misses Lucas Cheris. Jason Band's trying to win a foot race with him along the near side boards. He gets checked off the puck. Comes to Faulkner near half boards, and he's hit something down there in the corner. Wasn't able to carry it out cleanly. Now on comes Buddington. Buddington makes him play around Elmberg. He's looking for a centering pass. He gets checked, and his pass deflected. Now Buddington forces a man down into the ice. We're going to get a whistle for the goal off its post. with 10-12 left here in the second period.
You brought up a point earlier about how we'd expect more penalties. I do believe game one had lots of penalties on both sides for both teams. We saw shorthanded and power play goals, a bunch. A shorthanded goal for GBS and power play goals for New Trier. Very interesting to not have a single penalty here today.
Here's Krager, a deflection, and Winger on his backside. He's able to force it out. And now it's starting to get a little testy here, Andrew, as they were hacking and whacking at Winger as he was kind of down and out of the play.
Yeah, and I think Owen Walker also has a little bit of frustration. I think he thought he got tripped just as the puck was dropped as well. But you get the feeling that's the type of goal New Trier is going to have to score at this point. It's going to have to be deflected, maybe even multiple times, probably going to have to get a rebound. That GBS isn't going to let them get anything clean unless they make a mistake where New Trier can make some sort of a stretch pass.
Talk about GBS's power play a moment ago, Andrew. We've yet to see it. As Walker tries to get around one man, he can't. Chesson with the check trying to keep the offensive zone chance going, but eventually played out into the neutral zone, and Krager, with inside of 10 minutes, retreats all the way back behind his netminder to reset.
Something to take note of, another 2 offensive zone faceoffs won by Danny Balls. He's doing a really good job in the offensive zone. It almost can be a point to where New Trier should be working to get offensive zone faceoffs where they can create chances instead of trying so hard to get through that wall that GBS puts at the blue line. Just work to get offensive zone faceoffs and look to build your offense from there.
1-0 GBS leads. They've got the only goal so far here tonight, despite being outshot 23-11, and as Andrew's mentioned several times here so far tonight, New Trier having the better of the play in the faceoff dot as well. Eventually, those types of possession numbers add up, though. It seems like a matter of time. Here's Tyler Smith. Now, follow-up chance is Winger sprawling in his crease. And New Trier's bench is getting really frustrated with Winger continually knocking off the goal at what seems like very convenient times for the GBS Titans.
Yeah, I don't know if that one is much. You can see he's sprawling out there. Maybe there can be some times to look for to see if he's pushing it off on purpose. It definitely is a play goalies are aware of. But it looks like right now they're looking to just try to re-peg the net, maybe spray a little bit of water, see if that works. But it's definitely strategy from Winger, although face-offs benefit New Trier.
And I don't know if we can get a shot of Bob Melton there. He's frustrated as well. To Andrew's point, he takes a bottle of water from the sideline, sprays it on the ice, pointing at the official. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't get a penalty there for an unsportsmanlike, as he clearly was looking right at the referee. They locked eyes. I wouldn't have been shocked if we saw a penalty there, bench penalty, but I think in this playoff environment, hopefully these referees are tuning a little bit of that out and let the coaches get their frustration out.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, playoffs, they're going to get a little bit more leeway to where they're going to give that bench minor penalty.
Miller below the goal line stops. He thinks about going back to the point, but he's got 2 men sandwiching him along the far half boards. Papolis along the half boards tries to escort it out. Now turned over. Bad backhanded clearance attempt by Sokol. Follow-up shot from Miller. And Winger's able to keep it out. Now Erickson tries to get it rink wide to Mulvey. He's checked as he enters the zone. It's Snow back the other way.
Great gap there from Rabinowitz.
A good stick from Erickson. Able to get it back into the New Trier zone where Rabinowitz has to take the puck. Papolis keeps it in at the point. Now Kitchell Snow. He fires in on net and steering it aside as Winger. Jackson Hill gives to the captain Papolis to lead the rush. Callahan can't handle the puck through the neutral zone. Sowers can be able to put in deep. Almost too many men on the ice for New Trier. Winger whiffs a little bit on that pass attempt. Very active netminder as well in terms of playing the puck. Probably the most so in the SHL.
New Trier bench really wanted a penalty there. They're not going to get a call.
Not the way this game's, I think, been called thus far. It's going to take a pretty clear violation to see a power play. I think these referees are trying to make sure they stay out of the game. What you like to see in an SHL semifinal game. If there's a clear penalty, call it, but if you don't have to call it.
Yeah, and what you can also like to see is that they're consistent at least with it. They're not switching constantly. Both teams pretty much know what to expect at this point.
Here's Allenberg behind his own net with 7:20 left here in the second period. This is the stick of Steenstrup. Callahan ties up Krager to give Steenstrup a chance. Shot from Steenstrup easily into the glove of Dirtoff with 7:14 left in the second period.
GBS still just doing a really good job of not letting New Trier get those clean plays. We can see it right now. They're just really struggling. New Trier also starting to almost panic with the puck as well, not realizing the time and space that they have at times because GBS is almost on them, that they get that belief that they're always going to be right on them when they get the puck.
Talk about a difference between two games. Game 1, 22 shots on net for New Trier in the first period. Game 2, only 14 in the first period. If you're watching us here tonight, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the SHL Network. Our Twitter is the exact same as well. Get all the updates. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Get alerts when we post new events with playoff hockey. These new broadcasts get scheduled quickly, depending on the schedule. So if you want to get those alerts, go ahead and subscribe to the SHL Network on YouTube. Won't miss a game. All of our fans, we hear from all of you. All the tweets and Instagram messages and, of course, all the handshakes and pats on the back at the rink we, of course, appreciate. Does mean a lot to us. We work hard on this. I know Jimmy does as well, and all the great feedback we get really does mean a lot, so we appreciate you, the fan. Here's a shot from Hawkins. This shot deflected into the corner as Winger's lost his goalie stick. He's got to get a stick from Allenberg. And unfortunate offsides there as Douthit whacks his stick against the boards.
I don't know if we can get a look on that, but did Winger get hit, kind of clipped from behind?
Yeah, he's well out of the crease, though. I mean, he's an aggressive netminder, and kind of a little bit hard to tell from our angle, but just seeing the way he came up the ice, looked like he was pretty well out of the crease.
Yeah, Winger's pretty much going to take away the first shot of any opportunity that you're going to get. New Trier really needs to do a good job of either getting rebounds or having patience to the point to where you can wait him out because he's so far out of his crease.
See the way he extends his stick there to cut off the angle and gets a deflection and pops into his glove. He'll take a whistle with 6:26 left in the second period.
We don't have the best vantage point, but it doesn't really seem like the crowd has really gotten into it as much as you would expect in a playoff game.
It's been certainly a little bit more subdued. It's been a kind of a sloppy's the wrong word. It just hasn't been a clean game, and I think a lot of that has to do with both teams' game plan going into today. We've talked about it several times. This hard bounce off the glass, Winger has to field, but we talked about it. Neither team wants to give the other the chance to cleanly enter the zone. And it's causing, I don't know, is there a better word than messy game or uncrisp game? Because it's intentional, right? It's not a lack of skill. It's an intentional effort by both these teams. And both teams really executing it well.
They know what to expect. I believe that was the first face-off loss for Danny Balls in the offensive zone. He won the one previous, except unfortunately went out of the zone. We saw New Trier's forwards all are going forward.
Here's a chance for Cusick. Centering pass. Scores! Butler Chesson puts it home, and he ties the game for New Trier 1-1.
Unbelievable pass there. Chesson with the finish. As we mentioned, this line almost does all the damage for New Trier. But just an overall great play. No chance for Winger on that cross-crease pass.
Get another look at it here. You saw Cusick control. And then Butler Chesson find that open ice on the back door. Get a great look of it right there from down on ice level. And New Trier finds the equalizer with 5:24 left in the second. So a new game here. Middle of the second period. It was Glenbrook South that drew first blood. And New Trier responds. Now coming again is Miller. He doesn't have much with him. He just tries to carry the puck in deep, buy some time. They can set up. Sharp angle shot here from Smith. And Winger falls on that with 5:29 left in the second period.
I think he knocked the net off again, and much to the displeasure of the New Trier bench, as they're holding up the water bottles again.
That's going to be a continued theme here throughout the night. Part of it does have to do with Winger is a big kid. Here's Hawkins. His shot, he scores! Jack Hawkins beats the glove of Luke Winger, and just about 30 seconds later, it's 2-1 New Trier.
Biggest shift is the shift after goal and off of an offensive zone faceoff. Whatnot, we see New Trier just able to pile on. We'll see if that right now GBS has an answer, but at this rate it seems like New Trier could start to run away with it.
A little bit of screen in front there, but I'm pretty sure Luke Winger would tell you he should have had that one. And as good as he's been all season long, a couple of his teammates come and dap him up a little bit, saying, hey, it's all right, we'll pick you up, and that's what's got to happen. Right? Luke Winger's bailed this team out time and time again. It's time for these GBS forwards to go and bail him out. A little bit more offensive pressure, take a little bit of the pressure off him. As we talked about it, they're comfortable winning a game 1-0 if they have to, but no team's ever really comfortable doing that, right? You have to play on the razor's edge all the time, and you can see the razor's edge gets erased in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you're just wondering at what point would the straw that broke the camel's back, how many mistakes, how many lost defensive zone faceoffs, how many chances could you give New Trier before they finally got 1, 2, and possibly even more goals?
Really important moment in the game here for GBS to steady the ship. Trailing 2-1. It's shuttled around the boards. Ben's not able to get it out. Here's Tyler Smith. He'll skate wide, trying to create an angle. Goes all the way behind the goal. He loses the puck as he went behind the net of Winger. Shot in on Winger, but deflected wide. Hard off the boards and cleared. That will go the length of the ice for an icing. I want to thank our great sponsors here on the SHL Network: CCTY Bearing, Christopher Burke Engineering, Stormy's Tavern and Grill, Glassa, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, York Hockey, Loyola Hockey, Wintrust Bank, Lake Forest Bank and Trust, Wintrust Community Bank, Kramer Construction, Brian C. Mueller of Edward Jones Financial Advisory, and Schmidt Goaltending. Of course, Schmidt Goaltending sponsors the save of the game. We're keeping our eye out for that. I don't know that any sticks out in particular. We've got plenty of game left to find that, Andrew. This is tapped by Papolis. He's got a lot of speed up the left wing. He's going to fire a wrist shot. And a good glove save there from Durdoff. He hadn't seen much action in several minutes, Andrew, and that was not an easy save off a wicked wrist shot.
2-on-1, almost a full ice 2-on-1, and as you mentioned, just not a lot of action. That's a big time save. Wouldn't call it the Schmidt goaltending save yet, but that is a really big time save for a goaltender. Durdoff, it's really hard for him to get into a rhythm here in this game, whereas Winger's getting peppered with shots, he can kind of get himself into a rhythm. Durdoff's seen spotty action, but he was ready when it mattered.
This stretch pass goes back past Owen Walker. He'll drop it to Chesson. It just continues his electric run since the start of this year. Really been the driving force. Here's a shot into the glove of Southwood. Really been the driving force. We talked about the struggling New Trier offense in 2021. It's just been on fire here in 2022. It's really started with Butler Chesson.
Butler Chesson, and I'm sure he'll tell you his line mates also are getting him going as well, but it's also just a mentality thing. You get the confidence. When things aren't going well, you see players, they kind of lose their confidence. But when things are going right, everybody's upbeat. Everybody gets the feeling they can score. It just kind of comes together as one kind of fluid motion.
Andrew, of course, you play college baseball. It almost feels like a hitter who's in the zone, right? In a 10 or 12 game hitting streak, getting 2 hits a game. You just show up and it's going to happen. And that's kind of how it's fed. Not to discount, I'm sure, the work Butler Chesson put in, but he just has that mentality right now where he knows he's putting pucks in the back of the net.
You're spot on with that.
There's Jackson Hill. He wraps it around the boards. It's played by Steenstrup. He's able to get it out. Callahan's trying to catch up to this one. Stevens is following it. I think this is the first time we've seen Stevens on the ice, trying to get some of their depth involved as GBS. They heavily rely on those top 2 lines. Getting Jack Mulvey back was a big addition. Here's a deflection right in front. Fortunately goes wide as Faulkner was in good position to deflect that. Comes back to the point. Pressuring him there is Stevens and able to force it out. Comes loose as Boland chips it off the glass. Comes back to Krager in the neutral zone. He'll fire it into the far side corner and gives Kitchell Snow a chance to dig it out behind the goal. Centering pass to Smith. He shoots. He scores! Tyler Smith wide open in the slot. Makes it 3-1 New Trier.
Tyler Smith did a great job finding the soft spot, but that play is created and everything by Kitchell Snow, getting hard in on that forecheck, getting that puck, turning around, and finding Tyler Smith to bury that puck.
2:54 left in the second period.
As you can see on that replay, Lucas Wingard is not happy with his defenseman there. And something that you don't like to see as a Titan faithful is some of these players, if they start to turn on each other, start to panic. You cannot afford to do that against a New Trier Green team. They will really just start to bury you if you don't play as a team.
We're starting to see the cracks in GBS's defensive zone. We saw it in that 2-on-1 where Cusick jumped up into the play, found Chesson backdoor. We saw it again there where Smith found a soft spot. Here's another turnover through the neutral zone. Tyler Smith pressuring Dolby. He centers the pass. And known on the other end of it for New Trier. Rabinowitz follows up. Centering pass. Not able to get it home. Now Miller behind the play. Here's a shot. And deflected up into the netting, and down in pain is Owen Almberg. He's holding his hand or wrist area. Some get tangled up behind the play. We thought we might see a first penalty of the game.
Is there a problem?
2:17 remains here in the second period that's been dominated by New Trier. Great work that GBS did, completely muddying up their defensive zone, giving no clean looks to New Trier in that entire first period. They've had 3 good ones here in the second period, and they buried them.
They've had more than 3 though, as we mentioned. Wingers at the beginning was really locked in, but once they scored that first one, right now they've got that confidence, and you're wondering if Wingers' confidence even is starting to deteriorate as well.
3-1 is our score. A minute 56 left here in the second period. New Trier with a win today will move on to the SHL final to take on what has become maybe the best rivalry in the state of Illinois. GB and GBS always have a case there, but the rivalry that New Trier Loyola has been over the last half a decade to a decade with Bob Melton and DJ LeVar at the helm. Here's a backhanded shot. That rivalry has been something else. They've played for state championships. They've played for SHL championships.
Two of the perennial top teams in the state of Illinois as well.
Barring a miracle, I shouldn't say a miracle, very reasonable comeback here from GBS. It's just the way they've been offensively. Seems like it's going to be a tall task for them to find a couple more goals. They just have not had much offensive zone possession throughout the game, and they're being outshot at this point 32-15 near the end of the second period.
Also good to see Owen Almberg back on the ice.
We talked about it. Right now, New Trier has their eyes on another classic rivalry clash between these two teams as that comes just off sides as Hawkins couldn't keep it in at the blue line with a minute 26 left in the second. Still a whole period, though. Don't want to be too doom and gloom. It's just hard to find the offensive energy right now for GBS. It's just New Trier constantly pressuring, and I would imagine that's going to be the message. Up 2 goals, I would imagine they're going to keep the foot on the gas entering the third period. It's going to take a lot. You see just Paplis immediately into the zone. Can't get the puck towards the middle of the ice. After that last one, heard a few groans from the Glenbrook south side. Just have not been able to get anything going.
It's just really tough against New Trier. I can tell you from firsthand experience, the all-out pressure and non-stop harassment that they have, it's hard to get any sort of comfortability and generate any sort of offense.
See Jack Hawkins moves right into the offensive zone. A big hit in on Almberg. Hawkins turns, fires, pad save from Winger with 40 seconds left here in the second period. Cheris chasing, tries to get it back to the point. Instead it's Mulvey. Who deflects it. And with 30 seconds to go, Elmberg will set up. He'll go high off the board. Stopped by Hawkins. He's got to wait a moment, as that would have been offsides if he played it. Chips it in, gets deflected, and New Trier's going to get an offensive zone draw with 22 seconds to go.
I think they're calling this outside, but that's the wrong call. GBS tipped that puck out in their own zone. It should be inside the zone.
22.8 remaining on the clock here in the second period. Here, GBS and Bob Melton and Chad Bidwell with the exact same reaction you just had, Andrew. Like, why are we out in the neutral zone? You all saw the same thing there.
Especially with the way New Trier has been dominating the faceoff dot. An offensive zone faceoff is huge.
Faulkner had to wait. That ends that chance. Band tries to play that along. As good as Jason Band's been all postseason long, he's been completely stifled by this New Trier team. It barely called his name as that's fired down ice. That will do it for the second period, Andrew. And after two, clearly a second period where New Trier took control of the game. It's going to take a concerted offensive effort from GBS in the third period if they're going to find 2 goals.
Yeah, they're really going to have to dig deep, but it's playoff hockey. It's the SHL semifinals between 2 of the better teams in the state of Illinois. You wouldn't expect any sort of less of an offensive effort needed for a comeback victory.
No doubt about that. We're going to step aside. We're going to let the ice clear here, catch our breath, come back with third period action of this SHL semifinal in just a couple minutes right here on your home for SHL Hockey YouTube Live. Welcome back live to third period action here from Glenview Ice Center, where in Game 2, New Trier leads 3-1, already up 1-0 in the series. They look to close it out here tonight and head to the SHL final to face Loyola Gold. And for more on how they'll look to do that in third period, we'll send down to ice level where Andrew Rubin standing by with New Trier assistant coach Chad Bidwell.
Thanks, Max. I'm here with Coach Chad. Coach, took a long time, but you guys finally broke through to score 3 late there on winger. What led to that success?
I think at the beginning, period and a half's worth, we were for a lot of perimeter, kind of preaching to them. We got to take his eyes away more, activate our D. You saw Cusick with that initial rush. So I think if our, offensive defenseman get involved a little bit more, get more pucks to the net with his eyes away, success will follow. So
3-1 lead, looking to move on to an SHL championship. What do you guys do to bring it home?
Same thing, right? Like, don't take your foot off the gas. A lot of teams will play defensive. We're going to keep going offense, we'll score some more goals, but be smart in the defensive zone. Chip it out when we have to, take an icing, whatever we got to do to win.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck. Max?
And I don't want to make us sound too smart, Andrew, and if you can still hear me on your walk back over, that's exactly what we talked about at the end of the second period. Up to 3-1, I expected, and we talked about it, New Trier to keep the foot on the gas, right? They have not given GBS any room to breathe, have not given them much of any offensive zone possession time. And the best way to prevent any kind of comeback is just not to let them get the puck.
Yeah, as I'm walking back here, Max, you're spot on. I mean, New Trier gave GBS almost zero breathing room through those first 2 periods. You can't change anything because you've very much limited not only any offensive zone time, any chances or any possession that GBS has had.
It becomes less of a what can GBS do better. It becomes more of how can New Trier kind of relieve the pressure, and they don't have to, and I think that's the message, right? Don't change anything we're doing. Don't take a more defensive mindset. Keep pressuring. Keep holding possession. And we don't have next-gen stats like possession, percentage of possession the way the NHL does, but I would have to guess, Andrew, we're upwards of 70 or 75% of the possession time for New Trier. So we'll see if that can continue or GBS can find a way to get a little bit more control in the offensive zone. Just haven't seen it here tonight.
Yeah, and it's all aspects. It's not just passing, it's face-offs, it's board battles, it's everything where New Trier is really dominating that possession.
Now a centering pass just misses Danny Balls as he tried to come up the slot. Freemuth with some speed. Block shot by Rubino. That's centering pass. Gets a deflection in the slot. That's a good start for GBS. Trying to get some looks out in front of Dirtoff. If there's one thing we've seen from Dirtoff, be a bit of a weakness at times, can be rebound control. Just a sophomore goaltender. That at times can be the case. So talked a lot about what New Trier's looking to do here in the third period. Andrew, conversely, they've got to find a way to make life harder for Dirtoff, get some shots in on them, get some rebounds, some pucks around the net. We saw the 1 goal was scored off a dirty play around the net.
Yeah, GBS is really just, I think, looking to put more pressure because he hasn't even been able to settle into this game very much. He's been very spotty about getting action and things like that. It's probably if you can get some traffic, it's going to be really hard for him to find pucks.
Let's chip out, not able to get out of the GBS zone. Shot from Krager gets deflected into the corner. And you see the pressure of New Trier just holding possession here, going on 30 or 40 seconds as Kitchell Snow and Allenberg get tied up with the referee. Everyone seems to be getting up okay. Eventually comes out, just past the stick of Mulvey. Cusick steps in front of that. He'll chip it down into the GBS zone once again. 2 minutes gone here in the third period. GBS looking to stave off elimination. They'll need 2 third period goals to force a game 3.
That should have been offsides. I'm not sure why it was waved off, much to the dismay of the GBS bench there.
Yeah, a couple of upset Titans, but they're able to avoid any calamitous mistake out of it. This goes winding all the way around the boards and all the way down for an icing. I want to thank our great sponsors here on the SHL Network. CCTY Bearing, Christopher Burke Engineering, Stormy's Tavern and Grill, Glassa, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, York Hockey, Loyola Hockey, Wintrust Bank, Lake Forest Bank and Trust, a Wintrust Community Bank, Kramer Construction, Brian C. Mueller of Edward Jones Financial Advisory, and Schmidt Goaltending. Still on the lookout for that Schmidt goaltending save of the game. A couple of candidates from Luke Winger. Nothing much from Drew Dirtoff. Less to do with a spectacular play, but here's a 2-on-1 for Ban. Shot from Cheris, followed up by GBS's Freemuth. But Andrew, you talked about nearly a 2-on-1 opportunity there for GBS. Really smart play there from Cheris, who forced Jason Ban to go all the way wide and allowed New Trier's back checkers to get back in time to really eliminate the advantage.
Yeah, I think Ban did have an opportunity to move that puck real early. That could have led to a really good chance, but that's just the nonstop pressure that New Trier is putting on these Titans to make such high-level plays at such high speeds.
Now through the neutral zone comes Fleetwood. He drops to Faulkner. Faulkner's shot blocked down in front by Boland. He fouls it up and gets deflected into the corner. Papolis tries to chip it up the boards, kept in by New Trier, fouled up. And Finn Boland steps in front of that, whacks it off the boards. This is going to be an icing. No, it's me, an offsides waved, excuse me. Thought that should have been an icing, but we'll play on.
I think one linesman was calling it. The other linesman almost got hit by that puck, so he did not see his partner calling for that icing.
That will be an icing with 13:24 left here in the third period. Andrew, I mentioned it in the second period, and I can almost certainly say in the 6 years of calling SHL hockey, this is the first game where we've gone 2 full periods without a penalty. We have yet to see a man advantage, and for GBS, they came in doing well on the power play. They scored 15 of 18 goals at the end, 15 of 18 games at the end of the regular season with power play goals. Well, they were just 7th in power play for the full season. It was a much better power play in the latter part of the league season, but they've yet to be able to find one. Of course, you talk about those special teams, and here's a shot from Balls, fought off by Winger, and trying to clear it, and can't quite get it out as Balls keeps it in. Finally, Elmberg able to chip it out, but we talk about the power play of GBS. The penalty kill from New Trier, a ridiculous almost 91%. By far number 1 in the SHL by nearly 5%. They have been elite on the penalty kill, but neither team has had to use their special teams here tonight. Here's Chesson. Elmberg knocks the puck loose. A trailing Walker now here along the near boards. Comes out trying to keep it in with Krager. Instead, he makes the safe play and just takes it back out into the neutral zone. Veteran play there by Krager. Here's Cusick. Bidwell talked about those offensive defensemen. Cusick and Hawkins certainly have that ability. Here's Hawkins on the far point.
No stick for Almberg.
Yeah, you saw him just try to grab on hold of a guy to try to end the rush. Paplis loses the puck as he enters the zone, just not able to carry it in. That trend continues for GBS. Good move by Cheris around one man. Now a shot. And Winger with those long limbs able to stretch that pad and hug that far post. Keep it 3-1.
First whistle we got in a while. To go back to a point you're talking about the special teams, New Trier does have the best penalty kill in the SHL, but to my knowledge, I believe GBS scored the last game in Game 1 on the power play, and I believe they've scored once, if not twice, against New Trier on the power play earlier in the season as well. So, although New Trier does have the best power play, GBS penalty kill, GBS has been able to crack them a few times.
GBS had one last game, of course. That was a key component. 11:34 left here in the third period. It's 3-1 New Trier. New Trier on their way here for an offensive zone draw.
With Snow lined up on this right side, we've seen him go forward multiple times here.
Kitchell had himself a nice game. He set up one of those goals back in the second period, winning a board battle. Or as you put it, I don't know if he won it as much as the GBS defenseman conceded that board battle, and it led to that goal in the slot from Tyler Smith. I'll tell you, to this point, Andrew, just a 3-1 game. That's going to be offsides is the call, but just a 3-1 game, and you always talk about the game isn't always told on the scoreboard, right? But I'm sure teams around the state are taking note of this performance from the Trevians. You talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast. Some people think Loyola, some people think this New Trier team. Of course, over in the Stevenson themselves had a chance there at the SHL championship, number 3 team in the state. St. Ignatius over in the CCHL has been the best looking team outside of the SHL. But right now, New Trier is playing their absolute best hockey of the season right in time for the state playoffs.
Yeah, I think one thing that can attest to that right now is if you just think about who scores the next goal, if GBS scores, you still think they got a long way to go to score another goal against this New Trier team, whereas if New Trier scores, you think this game's just about wrapped up.
Right. I think that's a great point. Here's a shot. We talk about the next goal a lot, and sometimes in a 3-1 game, you feel like if that team down 2 gets the next goal, they're in really good position. Still don't feel that way. The way this game has gone, just don't see where GBS is going to find enough possession. Here's Miller, cross ice. Smith wasn't able to get a shot off. Now Smith again in the slot. Buddington, a good stick deflection there from Dolby to kick it into the corner. You just don't feel like GBS is going to have enough in the offensive zone. As even on this, look at New Trier is going to change all 3 skaters, not able to hold the offensive zone. Buddington tries to get it to Faulkner. Fortunate deflection to 15, gets it on to Douthit. Well, Dolby checked off the puck. Here's Jason Ban. He loses the puck as he enters the zone. Now Buddington. Elberg tries to wrap it around the boards. Dolby loses an edge. You see the stretch pass to Ban, but Hawkins was right there with him. Well, a shot from Ban, easily blockered away by Dirtoff. Comes free and chipped back down by Hill. 9:21 left here in the third period. No goals scored yet in this period. Trier did all their damage in the second period. After just a solo tally for GBS, came all the way back in the first period.
We're not really getting a lot of whistles this third period, and as there's a chance for New Trier, but what we talked about earlier, where both New Trier and GBS almost had no space with the puck, we're really starting to see New Trier gain a lot more space to rush the puck up the ice. We saw it in that second period as well towards the end.
You can only wonder, too, a much shorter bench on the GBS side. As this whistle here with 8:40 left to go in the third period. You know, Andrew, we've talked pretty extensively about the struggles right now for GBS to get going offensively. What can they do differently from what you've been watching here tonight?
I really think that they need to have a better effort to try to keep puck possession. New Trier is just really good with the puck and puts so much pressure when you have it that you cannot just afford to play a constant chip and chase game.
There's Butler Chesson, he's upended. Hawkins whiffs. Aaron Benowitz quickly over to recover. And is that going to be our first penalty of the game? It looks like it will be. It's going to be a trip against New Trier. So maybe this is the opening that GBS has been waiting for. We'll have a man advantage here for 2 minutes as our first penalty, more than 40 minutes into the game, is going to go against New Trier's own Walker for tripping.
Yeah, I personally did not see it. I don't know if we have a replay of that, but as it looks like we're getting a complaint because I think New Trier thinks one of their players got tripped as well.
I think it happened right almost exactly where they're standing now. Still getting an explanation is Will Krager. So I think if you're New Trier, you felt like the way you were playing, if you just stay 5-on-5 the rest of the game, you can pretty much suffocate this GBS team. Now this is a huge opening for the Titans. Trailing by 2. 8:26 left here in the third period. Crucial offensive zone draw win for the Titans as it gets to Dolby. Quickly to Allenberg. Allenberg will drop it below to Ban. Ban gets it back to Allenberg. Here's a shot looking for a deflection from Southwood. And it went right into the chest of Dirtoff. He falls on it with 8:13 left in the third.
Yeah, this was really interesting from this New Trier penalty kill. They had nobody covering Southwood in front of the net there. Both New Trier D flared out to the outside. If GBS can find a way to get a pass to Southwood in front of the net, that can lead to a really good opportunity.
There's Freemuth and Chesson. This is a great matchup at the dot, two of the best in the league, and Chesson's able to win it. New Trier able to clear. Now Dolby will skate up, getting a hot deflection from Southwood. It hits the linesman. Bad break for GBS, as that puck will come back into the Titan defensive zone. Talk about what can go wrong, will go wrong right now for Glenbrook South. Even off a good deflection there from Southwood, which would have had 2 forwards in on the forecheck for GBS. It's the linesman, and New Trier's able to clear.
Yeah, I think that could have even been a 2-on-1 had it not hit the linesman, but once New Trier scored that first goal, it almost feels like that's just the way things have been falling for this Titan team.
7:48 left here in the third. Be a defensive zone draw for GBS on the power play. We talked about it. A little over 16% on the power play is GBS. Season long, not a great number, but we talked about how much better they were the latter half of the season. This comes to Hawkins. He goes hard off the boards, and Dolby can't keep it in. 1 minute to go on the man advantage. Dolby again. Southwood, same play. Tries just a hot deflection to Freemuth, who flies along this near right board. Freemuth digs it out, gets it back to Dolby. Dolby's going to drop it to Freemuth. Cross ice to Allenberg. Allenberg winds up, hits a man in front, never gets all the way through. Fighting for it is Southwood, but cleared by New Trier.
We saw that puck in front of the net, and GBS still had 3 guys up at the blue line. On the power play at this point in the game, you got to start sending some guys to try to get some chances here against New Trier.
That's a great pickup by you there, Andrew. They've got to start taking more chances. Here's Mulvey. Back to the point in Allenberg. Allenberg's shot. Oh, why? I think it was deflected by the sprawling Kitchell Snow. Paplis has his stick tied up, trying to pry it free. Finally comes loose Paplis. He draws to his forehand, but can't get a shot off. Now able to clear his New Trier off the linesman. And that will be the end of the penalty. Back to 5-on-5. Is New Trier as Erickson's taken down to the ice. But no call as we'll play on. Dolby at the end of a long shift. Will get the puck back into the offensive zone. Comes all the way back to Southwood. Dolby's staying out there. But no, finally he'll jump on the bench. He'd been out there for, I think, almost the entire power play for GBS. Finally heads in. That will be far enough for icing. With 5:50 left in the third, offensive zone draw coming for New Trier. So pretty good power play there for GBS. Something to build on. Had a little bit of possession. We're able to generate a few chances. Not able to get a goal, but steps in the right direction. Still trailing by 2, under 6 to go.
Yeah, I think one thing that needs to be pointed out was GBS's power play breaking. One thing that makes New Trier's penalty kill so tough is that it's really hard to get in their zone, and we saw they tried to run that little tip play where one time it got blocked by the linesman here, but that really allowed them to get set up in New Trier's zone.
It was certainly the best possession that they've had all game long. Brian Dolby right back out there. I think he was on the bench for maybe about 10 game seconds. And Allenberg right back out there. Cusick drops it in deep. Walker giving chase. He's going to try to tie up a stick behind the goal. Southwood able to chip it along. Comes loose to Ban and Freemuth. Freemuth is hustling, trying to get a 2-on-1. Good stick by Krager, not to let that puck get to the middle of the ice. Knocked down and kept in by Allenberg. He takes a check, able to keep the puck in, but only for a moment. As Krager able to exit. Good touch pass here to Allenberg. Winds up, gets a couple of deflections. Not much speed on that shot on net after a couple of deflections. Under 5 to go here in the third.
That's going to be no ice as it was tipped by GBS.
Erickson rink wide, misses the stick of Mulvey, so that's going to be an icing the other way. And back down to the GBS zone we'll go.
We're still seeing GBS just not possessing that puck enough. They don't. It's really hard when the way New Trier pressures, but they need to find a way to get some possession, especially in the offensive zone, to create some traffic in front of Durdov.
4:42 left here in the third. Here's Papalis. He tries to play on to Mulvey, but stepping in quickly is Hawkins. Hawkins so situationally aware. You can very rarely makes a mistake when he steps up. And he very rarely plays back when he should have stepped up. Just a very instinctual player that you just pretty much never see in a bad position.
You can almost say that about a lot of these New Trier players, though, especially the way that they're playing right now.
They're playing the best hockey they've played all season long, just suffocating this Glenbrook South team. Hawkins goes rink wide to Cusick. Here's Jackson Hill winding up. Blocker save from Luke Winger. Hasn't had to be as spectacular here in the third period. Winding up, shooting is Buddington. Just goes over the crossbar.
That's actually a really good point you bring up. I don't know how many shots New Trier has really had in this third period.
Well, fortunately, due to game sheet, I can tell you according to that, they have, this says 8 shots on net. I think most of those had to have been at the first part of the period because there hasn't been many lately. Here's a backhanded shot. Winger's well out of his net. He doesn't have a stick. Sokol hands his stick off. Not able to get the puck out. Buddington keeps it in. Trying to keep the pressure on his New Trier. Winger still doesn't have a stick. Finally he's able to get to his goal. No, not able to get to his goalie stick. Here's Cusick. He'll wind up in a glove save by Winger with 2:51 left in the third. And a veteran move here, I think, by Luke Winger. He's having a let's call it an equipment check.
Yeah, I think he's asking for some tape, but that's the old announcer jinx right there as soon as I bring up New Trier not getting much offensive pressure on Winger.
I'm sure Luke has a something he's got to fix with his pads. Oh, that is a busted strap. Okay, I'll take it back. I thought he might have been buying some time for his top line to take a breather, but broken strap. Trying to give Winger some credit for a crafty veteran move, but seems to be a legitimate equipment malfunction. 2:51 to go here in the third period of Game 2 of this semifinal, and New Trier in firm control of this game. It's hard to say that sometimes. It's only a 2-goal lead, and that can change quickly. But they are showing why they're the #1 team in the state right now. And they are on a collision course with the #2 team, who is the #1 team for most of the season, Andrew, and Loyola, and what should be an absolute classic SHL final if this score holds up here today.
Yeah, assuming that we get there right now at this point, which can't put down as a definite, but those teams have played 3 absolutely stellar games as well this year. I think we've covered
all
2,
3?
if not all 3, yeah.
First one we had right before right before the Christmas break. And of course we had the game right after New Year's. That was the OT game where Loyola got that game tire.
Yes.
And the New Trier wanted an OT, and then of course that rivalry series game sponsored by the Chicago Blackhawks, which was another classic. Game 1 to be determined. Still got to finish this one out. Of course, both these teams have their first state tournament games coming up in just a couple of days. That starts this coming weekend up at the Edge in Bensonville. New Trier set to face the winner of Lake Forest and Hinsdale Central. They'll play Friday night at 6:40 p.m. That Lake Forest Hinsdale Central game dropped puck just about 15 minutes ago, so they'll know here shortly. Of course, the kind of game that raised an eyebrow last night, Bennett and Barrington, right here, SHL's finest, pushed Bennett, one of the top teams in the state, to overtime. They were controlling that game. I believe they were up 3-1 in the third period. It took 2 late goals from Bennett to force an overtime, and then I believe with under 5 seconds left in that first overtime, they got the game-winning goal to advance. That would have been quite the shock.
Yes, but even though Barrington did not have the best SHL season, towards the end, they really started to put together a lot of close games, whether it was with GBS, Oak Park, River Forest, Carmel. They played a bunch of close games to end their SHL season. Maybe they figured something out. But as you alluded to, those games at Bensonville, as a player that just played there multiple times, as you've covered, I cannot recommend enough for people to go to those games. It's such a great atmosphere.
It really is.
There really is no games that gets taken lightly at all. There's just something like you've never seen before in high school hockey.
Glenbrook South will play Saturday afternoon. They'll play the winner of Carmel and New Trier Blue. That game takes place, actually would have dropped puck about an hour ago. 2:45 left to go here in the third period. If you're going to be craving more hockey action over on our sister network, the CCHL network, we'll have game 1 of the Kennedy Cup final tomorrow evening, live from Fifth Third Ice Arena down there in the West Loop. Of course, the Blackhawks practice rink. That'll start at, as I say that, I can't remember if it's 8 or 8:30. I believe it's 8 o'clock from Fifth Third Ice Arena. If you're craving your network hockey, you can
just
find
to bring
more
up
tomorrow night.
the state tournament too, I do believe Warren upset Providence, and also another very shocking game to see there.
That is also one. New Trier Gray, I think that's the 3rd or 4th team for New Trier, beat Brother Rice Monday night. Friend of the network, Jeremy Ellis, coaches that team. Very excited about his team moving on, and they'll take on St. Rita Wednesday, and the winner of that game plays Stevenson. So SHL teams lie in wait. 2:14 left here in the third. An empty net for Glenbrook South. 6 attackers on the ice as they're going to make a last-ditch effort here to try to get closer. This 2-goal margin. Drew Durdoff's been spectacular. There's Brian Dolby, gives to Allenberg. Allenberg drops the puck in deep, 2 minutes to go. And along the far half-board, tries to get to it using his hand. That's a hand pass. No, we're going to get a wave on that hand pass. Here's a shot, but blocked in front. Never got through. Owen Walker doing good work pressuring the puck. Gets it to Papelis. Now Allenberg with some space. He'll fire a shot. It hit Erickson before it got to net. And it'll be cleared by New Trier. Deflection. Icing waved, and they'll score! So that puck was nowhere close to headed on net. It was deflected in midair by a Glenbrook South stick, and it painfully trickled into the net, and it's 4-1 New Trier.
I think we got a cross-check there. If we can get a replay on Allenberg on Walker, if we can see that right there. I'd be shocked if there's no penalty called. Just really at no point for the referees to take anything like that to let this game get out of hand at this point.
So with 1:39 left here in the third period, New Trier in full control, well on their way to an SHL final. Back in net. .110 left to go in the third period. Enright behind the goal line, able to pin the puck. Winger staying in his net. Battling now his man. You're seeing GBS put a little bit of their depth lines in, getting a chance here for some experience in this SHL semifinal. Comes loose to Cheris. Now Logan Sauer. Sauer skates wide. Bolin cuts off the angle, forces him behind the goal. 45 seconds to go. Trying to chip it out, turning it over, shot on net is Kitchell Snow. And snagged out of midair by Luke Winger. So this likely to be the end of the SHL season for GBS, we mentioned. They'll get their state tournament run started Saturday afternoon. Again, they await the winner of Carmel and New Trier Blue playing right now. So they'll know by the end of the evening who their first state tournament game will be against. That, of course, the round of 16. And then the quarterfinals, if you can believe it, less than 2 weeks away. Should say about a week. Oh, it is a week from today now that I think about it. Starts Wednesday and Thursday in a week. Now deflected. Here comes Stevens. 14 seconds to go. Taken away by Miller. Miller skates by Stevens. Here's Smith. Fought off by Winger with 3 to go. And a veteran move there by Tyler Smith to take the puck back into his zone. And with that, the Trevians have eliminated the Glenbrook South Titans, their first SHL playoff series win to get to this point, but their SHL season is over. They'll turn their attention to the state tournament. Meanwhile, we have a clash of titans. Number 1 and number 2 will meet in the SHL championship. That's New Trier Green and Loyola Gold. Of course, hard-fought series. Both teams will shake hands here at center ice. GBS still on a really good run of hockey over the last month. They'll regroup and get ready for the state tournament. Butler Chesson, I believe, got that empty net goal off the deflection, so I think that gives him 2 goals on the night. It was Butler Chesson, in fact, so another 2 goals, back-to-back 2-goal performances from Butler Chesson. And our Andrew Rubin down on ice level, waiting to talk to a coach, hopefully get a player as well post-game. As New Trier, just a dominating effort here tonight, completely smothering this GBS team. And so we're going to send it down to ice level where Andrew Rubin standing by with Butler Chesson. Another 2-goal night for number 8 for New Trier. Andrew.
Thanks, Max. I'm here with Butler Chesson. Butler, 2 goals in game 1, 2 goals again here in game 2, and the sweep of GBS. What led to that success?
I think everyone just started, they found their roles, and we just got pucks on net, pucks on net, and we just buried everything, man. I'm sorry, spaz right now.
It's all good. As we look ahead, you got both the SHL championship now against Loyola and the state playoffs coming up. Where does your focus point to?
I think we got to shut down the top line on gold. Borisma, Gustafsson, and who's the other? Grady. I think we just shut those guys down and start going to the net more. Getting the dirty goals will win.
Thank you very much, Butler.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So an animated Butler Chesson. We do apologize for that swear here on the network. Fortunately, we are streamed online. We'll have a quick conversation with Butler. All the kids at home don't want to corrupt the network too much, but Butler Chesson clearly excited, ready to take on the challenge of Loyola Gold. They're our rival here in the hockey circuit. Coming up in just a couple of days. Stay tuned to the SHL Network on Instagram, on Twitter. Of course, if you like and subscribe for our YouTube page, you'll get alerts when we schedule a new event, so you'll know that way. But that will do it for us here tonight. I want to thank our great crew, Patrick Loftus on camera duty, of course, Jimmy the Wiz Olsen, all the great graphics, replays, intros, and more. Andrew Rubin to my right, down on ice level with all the analysis. I am Max Anderson. Thank you so much for joining us for this semifinal matchup, and we will talk to you again soon for the SHL final right here on your home for SHL Hockey YouTube Live. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll talk to you again soon.